What's going on, you guys? It's actually really smoky out here today. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I decided I was going to start telling you guys more stories. And I was going to tell one of my personal stories instead of a angry grandpa story. So, today I want to tell you, well, I guess it's still sort of angry grandpa. Today is when angry grandpa bought me a wrestling ring for Christmas. This wind is terrible. So it was Christmas 2002. We lived in this little area called Leesville, upstate South Carolina. And it's real country. We had like 7 acres of land on like the Edisto River. It was a whole bunch of fucking land. And Angry Grandpa used to do dealings with this guy. His name was Gary Kennedy. He owned a place called the Wagner Drive-In. It's in Wagner, South Carolina. I don't know. His name was Gary Kennedy. Dad used to do business with this guy. And this guy had everything. He had a little bit of everything. All of Dad's concession wagons, like the clown wagon that we got from this guy. Because the guy had them all over his yard. He collected them over time, and him and Dad would get together, and they'd wheel and deal, and Dad would leave with something, he'd leave with something. So, one day, he comes across a wrestling ring. It's not like a WWE style ring like you're thinking of. Now, it was, but it was like a woman's wrestling ring. The mat was like orange. It was like this hot orange. And like the ropes were like green and pink. And the side of it said WOW, which I'm only assuming stood for Women of Wrestling. So it was a women's wrestling ring, but it was a wrestling ring. And I wanted it. So I told Angry Grandpa, I was like, yeah, I gotta have it. And he goes, well, goddamn, I ain't got $1,000 goddamn dollars. Which is what the guy was asking for it. Which is just like, he always gives like a high price to start off with so he can bid you down. Dad had this old truck in the yard that he didn't want anymore. So Dad comes up to Gary, and Dad says, all right now, Gary, I got this goddamn truck. I know you want it. I'll give you this and $50. And Gary says, oh, pa. That's how Gary talks. Pa, I'll give you. How about the truck and $200? And Dad says, $100. $125. Sold. So we got the wrestling ring as a trade-in from a car that Dad didn't use and $125. So here we are, Christmas Eve. We're setting the wrestling ring up in the backyard. I'm getting on this fucking thing. I'm bouncing around the ropes. I was just as fat as I am now, by the way. Our wrestling ring didn't have any padding underneath the mat. So I get on the top rope, not knowing what the fuck's about to happen. I saw on Tough Enough, which was actually sort of a new show at the time. Tough Enough, they say, oh, the first bump you need to learn is you drop on your back. So I decided, I'll do it from the top rope. I know what to do. So I get on the top rope, and I do this like, I don't know if you saw Get Him to the Greek when Aldous Snow was going to kill himself from the top of the hotel, but I did that thing, and motherfuck, I almost passed out. It hurt so goddamn bad. I was like, it was solid wood on top of a steel frame and no padding underneath it. It was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. So me and my cousin Jason, which is Aunt Charlene from the video, this lady.
Now if you had it in the country, I'd be all for that, but you live in a trailer park where there is trash.
Her son, he comes over and we decide we're going to wrestle on the ring. We're going to put on a show on New Year's Eve. And we get some fireworks and we get Roman candles and we duct tape them to the ring and we get the video camera out and we start filming it. And we light them, the fireworks, the sparks are going off, and yeah! And then we proceed to put on the biggest clusterfuck you could imagine as a match. This match was put on by some of the worst amateurs you could imagine. We totally embarrassed ourselves. We were flopping around the ring like...
What are you doing?
I'm telling a vlog. I'm not telling any of your stories. I'm talking...
You better not tell any of my motherfucking stories again. You understand me?
I'm telling about the time you got the wrestling ring for me for Christmas.
Oh, God.
Tell these people what the wrestling ring looked like. Just say.
It was for fucking midgets.
It was... So, it was embarrassing. It wasn't no. He says it's for midgets. It was standard size, but it was fucking all discolored, cartoony. It was embarrassing. But it was a wrestling ring, and we had a lot of fun on it. And it was actually a pretty good Christmas. We couldn't wrestle on it. We sort of embarrassed ourselves when we got on it. And
hey, y'all.
Bridget had to interrupt my vlog. She had to be in this.
Hey, y'all.
Is my room getting clean?
It's spotless.
Okay. So, I'll tell another story. Next time, I'll tell the story about the time Angry Grandpa went to throw a glass at my sister and it hit me in the head. So I'll tell you that next time.